What's going on, you bunch of heretics? Grab your paint pots, grab your recaf, and let's get some paint on that ever-growing pile of potential. It's here. The Heresy is my therapy, Slapchop, and speed painting tutorials. So, Kill Team, Termination, and of course, in preparation for the new edition of Kill Team, something I am very, very excited about. We have got the, I'm gonna have to get the phone because I don't know, I keep forgetting how to say this. Where is it? Here they are, the HERNKYN Yaegers. HERNKYN Yaegers from the Kill Team Termination set. These, I love these, you know, the cloaks, the way they're just kind of they're just really cool. So I'm really looking forward to kind of giving the Slapchop. We're going to keep it to the box art. We're going to try and create the same sort of theme on the box art with these guys, and know that they'll look all right. Hopefully you find this useful. These Leagues of Votann have definitely got me inspired to do a Leagues of, like all of it, you know, Leagues of Votann, just every single mod. I just want to collect everything. But anyway, this is a Slapchop tutorial on how to get your Jaegers, you know, done pretty quickly to get them ready for the tabletop. Hopefully you do find this video somewhat useful. Anyway guys, everything you need will be in the description below. So without further ado, let's get to it. Here he is then guys, our HERNKYN Yaeger. Good to go, all based with Chaos Black. As you can see, we've got the usual suspect paints. We've got our water pot, and of course we've got our wet palette. Selection of brushes from Chronicle RPG, and we're good to go. Okay guys, as always, Administratum Grey is going to be our starting block. Remember guys, with the dry brush, we're going to get plenty on the brush. And of course, we're going to take absolutely loads off it. Take it all off, and we're just going to build and build and build. Small circles. You can use a selection of dry brushes. I've got a medium one here, and then of course I'll switch to a small one. But with this Administratum Grey, I'm putting small circles on all over the model. Underneath, over the top, absolutely everywhere, till I get a really good light base. Okay, and the small circles are really going to help give it that nice effect. Okay, but just 2 layers of this, maybe even 3 if you really want to, but getting absolutely everywhere on the model. And of course, we will take our older clean dry brush, and we're just going to take all the old excess paint off, as we always do between each layer of the Slapchop base. Situation no change guys, all Thran Grey. And same again, grab a smaller dry brush this time, shake up your paint pot, take some paint onto the paintbrush, take it all off, get absolutely all of it off, because we want to build this, we don't want to go in too heavy with it. And same again, we are just going to do small circles over the model where the light would shine. Okay, all over the model where the light would shine. You don't need to get in sort of any underparts with this. We're literally going where the light would shine on the model. Okay, like I say, building it up, and you can go as light or as dark as you want to. I would go probably two layers of this again, you know, nothing too wild. And then of course, as always, we're just going to grab our dry brush, clean dry brush, and we're just taking off all of that excess paint. Okay, that dry brushed paint, just get it all off, get it prepped up nice. And of course guys, the final part, either Corax White or White Scar, and same again with a small dry brush. All we're going to do, it's no change here guys. You know, if it ain't fixed, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. We're keeping the same 3-step recipe, and you know the routine. Get it absolutely all off the brush, just place it on where the light would shine. And again, this is just like a final little edge bit, just to give us that little bit of extra extra layering and that contrast, and it will make sense. As you've seen before on many of the videos, it will make sense. So again, just small layers. Again, only where the light would shine, there's no need to get underneath anywhere. But again, nice and easy, small circles where you can, and just maybe 2 layers of this, or 3 depending on how light you want to go. Alright? And then of course finally, just grab our dry brush again, and we're just going to take off all that excess paint. You'll see it flicking off, and that dry brushed paint, you'll still feel flicking off. We just want to clean that up nicely, so that when we come to applying our paint, it's a nice clean base to work with. And that's it really guys, ready to go. Right, all I'm going to do here is I'm just putting on my base. This is like a Astro Granite, a technical basing thing. It just means that when it comes to near the end of the model, and for a bit of time saving, it'll be nice and dry, ready to base. So again, whatever basing you're putting on, whether that be some Sterling Mud or Astro Granite or some deserty stuff, place it on sort of like now. If you're in a rush to get things done, you want to speed through your models, this is the best way to do it, I think. Right, base done, we're going to grab our Basilican Grey. And we're not going to need any Lamy and medium for this, we're going to go straight from the pot. And this is where we're going to get the outside of the coat done. I am using for this, I'm using the Artist Opus Series S one brush from the Series S paintbrush set that was very nicely bought for me by my friends Will and Dave, who I am just daily grateful for this gift. But anyway, as we continue on, we're just applying a couple of thin layers, 2 thin coats of Basilican Grey all around the coat. Okay, so all over the coat, that's what we're going to apply the Basilican Grey to. Around the outside, Basilican Grey is quite a nice paint because it has like a bit of it's really a tint of brown, of a brown hue inside it, which is perfect for the coats of these HERNKYN Jaegers. And then I'm just going to do like on the top of his backpack, like the kind of like the cloak, or maybe a sleeping bag or a roll mat type thing. Just going to paint that grey, just because it will kind of go with the theme that I've got going for these guys. Alright, so again, Basilican Grey, and again, just build this up, 2 thin coats, Duncan Rhodes it as always, all on the coat, on the sleeves, and around the sort of like the outsides of the boots as well. Alright, but again, 2 thin coats, then also just around sort of like the edges of the coat as well. Next up, we're going to get our skeleton horde. Skeleton horde we're going to place on the chest, the top chest of his armour, the kind of like inside, what would you call that? The inside of the coat basically, and you'll see this now. So like I say, straight from the pot to the palette, we've got his holsters that we're going to do, the sort of like main part of the holster of the sword, the sheath. Sure, sheath, yeah. That element, that's going to go in there as well, and then of course like the inside padding of his coat, and then of course the top part of the armour where we're going to apply the Magildra flame to. All right, and again, I would just go with 2 thin coats of this, slowly build it up. Okay, again, you haven't got to water it down, thin it down with Lamy and medium. You're simply just going to go from the pot to the palette, and then just take plenty off the brush, and then slowly build. And then of course just some of the straps as well on, sorry for the clarity here guys, and then just on the straps as well, we're just going to place it on there. But as you can see there now, we've got a really nice build up, all the sort of like panels inside the coat, the top of the chest, and of course the holsters and the sheath for the main weapon. Hopefully you can see that quite clearly. With that applied, we're going to get our Gore-Grunter fur, guys, Gore-Grunter fur. Give it a good old shake up as always, get some on the palette. And then also we're going to add our Larmian medium. You know I love Larmian medium, guys. You know I thin it down. And again, a 2-to-1 of Gore-Grunter fur and Larmian medium is all we're going to need for this. Give it a good old shake up. And again, we're just going to mix those two together. And all we're going to start to work on now is the fur on the coat. Okay. And again, this is going to be 2 to 3 thin coats, depending on how rich you want to make this the colour scheme of it. Personally, I've just gone with like I went with 2 thin coats for this. Okay, 2 thin coats, you know, and then just on the backpack as well. Again, it will make sense when we use other colours, but this is kind of like the base colour that we're going to use. Remember that colour theory that we were talking about, that underpaint, and as we build the different colours on top. Okay, I know it's not quite speed painting. You know, this might be an hour or so's worth of work, but you know, it's still, you know, a model done in an hour. You know, so yeah. But like I say, on the backpack, and then of course you want that fur coat built up as well. As you can see, guys, I'm up to like the second coat here, just filling in all those little bits and pieces, those gaps there. And of course, don't forget the parts of the gloves as well. There's little bits of the glove that we can get done on this. But again, 2 thin coats, all you really need on this model, on the fur. Okay, once that's done, we're going to get some dark oath flesh. Okay, dark oath flesh. And all this is going to do, this is going to just sit in the panels. And again, I'm going to mix it in with that old skeleton horde mix. We can add a little bit of lime if you want to, but all I'm doing here is I'm just kind of creating the kind of colour on the front of the box art. All right. So again, just a thin layer of this, and if you want to go a little bit deeper into the corners, you can do. But all I'm doing is I'm just placing this in those panels of the coat. All right, just in those panels. And again, if you want to put a second layer on into the corners just to make it a bit deeper in the shadows, that's absolutely fine. And again, just in the straps as well, just to kind of give it a little bit of contrast between the two. But that's up to you. But it's mainly the panels that we want on this. And again, we're just building it up, small layers. Here it is, Magma Draft Flame. You guys know I love this Magma Draft Flame colour. It's so vibrant and light. And all we're going to do is, very simply, this is going to go on the armour panels of the top of his chest and the backs of his gloves, where you've got those like pads. I think this is the kind of colour scheme for the Trans-Hyperion Alliance. I actually really like this colour scheme, and I think the Trans-Hyperion Alliance look works really, really nicely for the HERNKYN Jaegers, and I think for the Leagues of Votann itself. And I think if I was going to start a Leagues of Votann army, this is the colour scheme that I would adopt. And again, you know, this is again 2 thin coats of this on your model. Okay, just 2 thin coats is all you're going to need. And again, just on the back of the knuckles where those pads are. Like I say, 2 thin coats, all you're going to need for this. And if you want to add a little bit of lime and medium, you know, you can do in there. Okay, next up, we're going to get our Eldari Emerald. And this is what we're going to use to create that nice glowy effect for his power weapon. Again, nothing fancy, nothing too wild. Again, just from the paint pot onto your palette, and just a couple of thin coats, probably just the 1 coat really, is all you're going to need for this. And if you want to get it into the crevices, just add another coat into or another few little strokes into the corners. But otherwise, Eldari Emerald is a really nice colour just to make that model pop, and suits I think this Leagues of Votann colour scheme really, really nicely. Again, Eldari Emerald. It's the same as what I use for my Space Marine army. Okay, next up we've got our Pterodon Turquoise, and you guys that have been following the channel will know this is what we're going to use for a lot of the sort of like that black undertone to create that turquoisey hue that we see on so many models across the Citadel range. And again, there's going to be a 2-to-1 mix of Termination Turquoise and Lamia Medium. And all this is going to do is going to go on the areas that we want to be, or the armor work that we want to be black. So it's going to go on the bottom part of the armor work. It's going to go on some of the trousers, some of the gloves, and it's going to go onto his weapon system. And again, 1 to 2 thin coats of this is all you're going to need. Like I say, we're going to go into the armor work, onto the gloves, where his fingers are, you can see there, into his trousers on the bottom, and then again, we're just going to apply this onto the weapon system, onto the weapon system. And again, 2 thin coats is all you're going to need for this, and then obviously we'll use black Templar later on, but that will come a little bit. Let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. All right, but like I say, keep this really thin. You don't want to just go straight from the pot with this. You want to make sure we mix it with Lamia Medium just to thin it down to create that nice under hue as well. And just see where I've been going with this, all the elements that you want to have black on your miniature. So again, on some of the buckles that I wanted, but mainly the arm work, the weapon system, the gloves, and the trousers. Okay, with that applied, we're now going to get some snake bite leather. Again, this is just a slightly different iteration of the sort of like the browns and the neutral range that they have in the contrast elements. And again, we're just going to pop some on our wet palette. Take it off, dry your brush off. Just a little bit of Lamia Medium, maybe a 2-to-1 sort of like ratio would be what we want here. Because we're now kind of applying like a bit of a shade or a bit of a glaze really, and again, just to allow the sort of the colour underneath the lighter colour underneath to do its job. I mean, we're just changing the kind of tone so it breaks up between the coat and the holster. And all we're doing, we're just placing this on his holster, and again, we're just placing this also on the holster of the sheath, if you will, of the sword. I'm also doing it on the backpack as well. Alright, so I'm just slightly altering the tone of the brown that's underneath. Okay, just to kind of break up the colours. Alright, so I say all we're doing is that, and then of course on the side of his boots, we're just adding a little bit of snakebite leather just in there. With that applied, we're going to get our classic Cygor brown. Now hopefully with those other colours you've seen them now, kind of it should start to look a little bit different, okay? So you should start to see the different shades of brown and neutral colours. Again, Cygor brown, very heavy colour as I've mentioned before, so we want to make sure that we do thin this down, probably a 1-to-1, 2-to-1 mix of Lamia Medium and Cygor brown, okay? And make sure this is like an equal mix of this, okay? Remember, Cygor brown's a very heavy colour. We just want to build the layers up with this. We never want to go full on straight from the pot unless specifically done, okay? And again, all I'm doing is I'm placing this into the fur coat, or the fur on the back of the coat, and then I'm going to place, like I say, just onto the fur of the back of the coat. And then, like I say, work them right down. Maybe you probably want a couple of layers of this, but again, there needs to be thin layers of this, okay? Thin layers, don't just go straight from the pot into it. And then really just for like a little bit of extra detail, I'm just kind of going into the corners and the crevices of the inside patchwork, just to kind of give it that bit more contrast and just deepen the colours a little bit of the model. And again, on the side of the boots, where we applied that snakebite leather, I'm just going in there as well. Yep, simple enough. And like I say, you can see there clearly the different browns and the lighter browns that are being applied into the model. Okay. Okay, with that done, we're going to get our Black Templar, and basically, remember again, Black Templar, another very, very heavy colour, so we need to make sure that we thin this down. And again, this is a 2-to-1, 1-to-1 mix of Black Templar and Lahmian Medium. And once again, we're just building the layers up, okay? We want a nice, cleaner look to our slap chop. Okay, and again, all those areas that we've just applied, that we applied the Techlon Turquoise to, we're now going to apply our Black Templar. If you don't have Black Templar, Black Legion will work as well. But all we're doing is we're just, like I say, moving the paint around nice and thin, and just really building on those edges. You're probably going to want, probably two thin coats, maybe 3, depending on how much you want to place in there. And also, for a little bit of extra detail, you can just kind of put some in the crevices of that Basilicum grey, just to really help make that contrast stand out. And all I'm doing is I'm also adding it onto the sides of the coat where I applied the Basilicum grey earlier as well. Remember, we're doing it in the weapon system. And again, if you just want to add a little bit of shadow and a bit more depth, you absolutely can do that with this mix. But again, it needs to be a really thinned down mix of 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 of Black Templar and Lahmian Medium. Okay, and again, all those areas that you applied the Techlon Turquoise to, that's where we're going to apply this mix to, and all those little other areas that you just want to kind of create some depth to as well. This mix really sits really nicely, and especially if you've got use it sparingly on the model, it will do its job like you want it to. Okay, and like I say, I'm just putting it in some little recesses here and there, just to give a bit more depth to the model. Right, you know the routine, guys. It's the Xandri dust. I've tried to extend this part of the video a bit more so you can really see what's going on with it. Remember, get your Xandri dust, get a small dry brush with a flat head ideally. You don't want this to be like a small circle one, although you could, I suppose. But yes, like I said, whatever dry brush you've got, small one, and take absolutely all of it off the brush. Start off on the base and just feather, and I cannot express enough this. This is a literal feather dusting over the model. Okay, an absolute feather dusting over the model. Just really light, really gentle, just being very sparing with this all over the model. And you just, again, you'll see the effect happening. Hopefully you can, it's been captured on the camera here. But again, we are just so light with this. You do not want to be pressing on at all. There should be next to no paint on the brush whatsoever, and we're just slowly, and you'll slowly see the color change. And again, if there's any sort of pooling, this will just kind of, nullify that a little bit. Okay, so like I say, very gentle, no pressure, just gently feather it on. Feather dusting as always. Okay, with that applied, we're going to grab our Imperial Fist or Iron Dan Yellow, whichever one you've got, and there's like a gemstone or a light type thing at the front of his armor plating, and all we're going to do is just going to take some Imperial Fist and just go boop, right there it is. Okay, nothing wild, nothing crazy, just let the contrast paint do its job. Simples. Next up, we're going to get our Grey Knight Silver, and again, so this is a bit of a nightmare paint. I had a bit of a nightmare earlier trying to get this sorted out. You need to really make sure that you mix this paint pot up, okay? Otherwise, it will not sit right. So you want to a couple of minutes of just absolutely shaking the life out of this pot. Once you've done that, you're going to basically place it on the belt buckle, on the gun casing, on the external parts of the sheath, and obviously the metal work, the handles of his sort of like power dagger. Is it a power dagger? It looks like a little power dagger. I suppose in his hand it's a bit of a power sword, but it's some sort of power blade. And then of course like the canister on the back as well. I've placed some on there. The Grey Knight, the Granite Silver has like a nice bluish hue to it, and just sits really nicely, you know, in the model, which is really what we want. So it's not like an Iron Hand or an Iron Warriors silver. It's got a nice bluish hue and it's quite light, and I think works really nicely for this model. So again, just a couple of thin coats of this. With that drying, we're going to get our Cadian flesh tone, and we're going to do our usual Heresy is My Therapy skin routine, skincare routine of 2 thin coats of Cadian flesh tone on the face. Remember, 2 thin coats, nothing wild. Okay, and again, I'm really sorry that this is blurred here. I can only apologise for that. For some reason, my camera decided not to focus on it. I am trying to get it up close for you guys. It's been a bit of a request. But I've evidently gone too close here, and now you can't see it, but hopefully you get the idea that it's 2 thin coats on the face, okay, of Cadian flesh tone. Hopefully you can see it a little bit better now. It's kind of unblurred itself. Yeah, just a little bit on the ears, and then obviously we'll just focus on the head, the eyes, and if you can reach into it, there's a little bit of his lip as well. Right, with that applied, we've got our Corax White, so all we're going to do with this is just like a really easy sort of like light, like a light, way to do like lights and buttons and dials and stuff. Really simple. Just get a bit of white, and all you're going to do is just, like I say, take a little bit off, and all you're going to do is just basically place it on those sort of like what would be like dials and lights. Okay, so again, just a little bit in there, dot it on. Again, they just need to be little dots. That's all they need to be. Nothing. What I'm trying to keep this as real time as possible for this part. It's quite quick because it is super quick and super easy. They're just really easy ways to create sort of like lights and gemstones and stuff. So for like your radar type stuff, like there, like so like yeah, like radar dials and the little like whoop, whoop, we're just going to get our Mantis Warriors green. If you haven't got that, you've got like Camo Creed or Dark Angels green there, they'll all be fine. Or Warp Lightning. Yes, the Mantis Warriors green. And all we're going to do is basically from the pot to the palette, and then just, whoop, there you go. You just see that turning green. And if you want to add another coat, you can do, just to kind of deepen it a little bit. Easy as that. Now I'll do one on the other side as well. Easy as. Little green light. Green light. Easy as that. Pop that away. And next one we're gonna do, what should we have? It's Talazar Blue. Yeah, Talazar Blue. Again, literally exactly the same again. No need to thin it down. We can just literally take it, pop it on our palette, and then just colour in some lights. And again, you know, if you want to do different colours, you can add some Flash Terrors red, you know, put in the Magma Drop Flame, whatever colours you want, but it's literally just pop a bit of white down and then add your contrast paint over the top, and you get like a little like mini light. Easy. Okay, Nuln Oil, classic liquid tint, and all we're going to do with our Nuln Oil, you know where it's going to go, It's going to go on all of our metallics that we've applied. So simply just place it over. It will still keep that bluish hue, so don't worry there. But all you can do, run the pot, pop it on the palette, and just all of the areas that you've applied the metal to, that's where you're going to apply the Nuln Oil to. And it will just do its job. It will just dull it down a little bit, just take a little bit of the shine off, give that a little bit of a grim dark feel, and make it feel like you're an absolute wizard. Which is what liquid talent's all about. Gotta get the people what they want. There we go. Just nice and easy, nice and loose, just in those areas that we've applied the Granite Silver to. Alright. With that dried, we're going to grab our Balthazar Gold. Was it Balthazar Gold or was it Balthazar Bronze? Oh, I'm so rubbish at this, I'm so sorry. But yeah, Balthazar Gold. Okay, and again, it's like a nice bronze look. And all we're going to do is on the carabiner on the back. And then all we're going to do after that is the carabiner and then some of the clips that are holding his backpack straps together. And again, 2 thin coats of this. If you want to put other areas of your Balthazar Gold on, you can do. But for me, I just wanted to make it as the carabiner on the back. A little bit of the brass rounds, which I think like all the canisters, and some of the clips as well. Again, nothing wild, just small strokes, just painting it on really easily. No edge highlighting required here, troops. There. Alright, and then just add it onto some of the clips as well. Okay, with that applied, we're now going to get our Agrax Guilliman Flesh. Don't know why that cut out a little bit earlier. Guilliman Flesh, guys, you know where this is going. Guilliman Flesh straight on that face. There we go. That is literally as easy as that. Guilliman Flesh straight on the face. Let it do its job. Nothing wild. Super easy. Super easy. So you just probably want the one coat on there, concentrate on the eyes and the nose, you'll be golden. Whilst that's drying, we're going to grab some Agrax Earthshade. To be honest with you, I'm not going to hood the eyes, they don't need to be. I think the Guilliman Flesh has done a good job of that. All this Agrax Earthshade is going to do is all those areas that you've applied the Balthasar Gold to, that is where you're going to apply the Agrax Earthshade. Alright, and that will just, like I say, sit in the crevices nicely, sit in the shadows beautifully, and just kind of give you a deeper effect of those metallics. Okay, easy as that. And then we've got our Kislev Flesh. And again, guys, you know how it is. The Heretics is my therapy skincare routine. Okay, all we're doing is that with this is we're just placing some on our palette. Okay, so hopefully you can see that there a bit better. Okay, dry your brush off a little bit, and then we're just going to put that back on. I apologise here because it does go a little bit blurred. And again, all we're doing is on the forehead, on the nose, on the eyebrows, we're just making it pop just that little bit more. Alright, I apologise again for the blurring, but it's just really thin dots on those highlight areas, cheeks, nose, forehead, making it pop. And then we're going to get our Stormhost Silver. We're going to get a small dry brush. Okay, we're going to pop it on our dry brush, take it all off, and then we're basically going to, on all our metallics, we're just going to pop a little bit of a dry brush over those metallics just to kind of make it pop just that little bit. Alright, so just take your time with this, just like I say, very, very gently, just where the kind of like light would catch on there, and you'll just give it a nice little extra highlight on the model. Alright, easy as that, guys, easy as that. But again, be feather, really, this is an absolute, like we did with the Xandri dust, this is just a feather dusting onto those areas, just to kind of like spot silver it on there. Okay, feather dusting, kids, feather dusting. Right, and that's him all done. Obviously I've done the part where I've kind of based it, I've just blitzed in with a Valhalla Blizzard basically, and popped some Valhalla Blizzard on the model. But there he is, our HERNKYN Jaeger, a Theyn, all done, good to go, ready for the tabletop. Hopefully guys you've enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching, and as always thank you so much for your support on these videos. I will keep them coming. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye bye.